Hi, welcome back. Just trying to remove some dead weight, things that don't work. It's kind of a shame. It looks like it's in great condition, but something went wrong with it, as well as gotten pretty sloppy. As I had mentioned in my last video, there's a lot of wires that could arc and catch fire. I'm trying to clean all those up. I want to keep this running so that while I have it on a local ad, I'm trying to sell this motor and transmission, I'll be able to fire it up for them and they can hear it run. But I want to get as much of this out of the way that I don't need. There's an Ugo horn there. I took the hood off just to make it easier to work with. It's interesting, this brace, which is actually the hood prop, as well as the brace for the nose. The wagons and the trucks have two of these, and they go across each corner, and it'll hold all the front ends straight. Well, the whole nose of this Jeepster is pulled to one side, and now I can see why. Through vibration and driving, it's slowly creeped to one side. I don't know if it's been pulled to one side, if this is actually bent a little bit. Maybe it got bumped, but that kind of explains some of it. Also, some of this wiring, there's an Ugo horn in here with some relays. I was hoping I could save it. It does work. It doesn't sound very good, and these can be cleaned up so you can make them work better, but it's so bent and mangled. It looks like it was probably on the front of a car and it got hit. So it is garbage. It's even bent right here. I don't think I'll put this back on. I think I'll work up some other way to hold up the hood and to hold this nose in place. I mean, it is well attached to the fenders and to the frame, so I don't see any reason to have this other than to prop up the hood the original way. But I don't think it's necessary for this, so I can clean off that bracket. I have to clean all this up anyways. It's really hacked up from this radiator when they put this radiator in. This was supposed to have a cover right here, and it's all bent and welded and hacked on. Some of these wires I'm trying to clean up. This one, it's crimped and damaged. It goes over here to a relay that goes underneath the radiator over there to the fuel pump. So not only did that have a really bad ground on the fuel pump, but it has a really bad wire going over to it. So yeah, this could easily leave you stranded on the road somewhere. One of the live wires. Get rid of that. Another live wire. Two live wires in here. Don't know where those go. More bare wires. More bare wires. Test these and see if any of them are alive. If they're live, then I'll find the source and get rid of them, or I'll just wrap them with tape. And that one's live, but it's fused, so that's protected. I'm not getting any power to that, but the key's off. I'm going to turn the key on. You get the fuel pump. But I know it's loose, so I can just turn that off. wasn't even hooked to anything, it was just hanging there. Well, that was hooked up to the starter solenoid. Don't know why. Another wire that's dead. The green one that goes under the dash, I'll trace that down. Another one that goes under the dash. Trace that down. I might need that connector. Never know. And this blue one goes under the dash. This one goes to the starter, and I think it powers up when the starter is switched. It's got some exposed wire here. So I definitely want to wrap that up. There's another wire, this one that goes to the starter solenoid that is going down to the starter. That has also got some exposed wire, so I need to wrap that up. I've just been pulling everything out from under the dash. This wire actually goes over there to the fuel pump, so I need to hook it up so it can get started. These two were just a loop to the key switch. This one goes to the key switch and is the actual starter. So I'll need that to just hot wire in order to start it up. Oh, I disconnected this from that fuel pump, and there's two more wires over there that went to the key switch, so I've wired all those together and tapped into that yellow wire that has wires sticking out of it. So I can wrap those up. That cleans up that side, and I can get rid of this relay. No need for any of this wires. These can all go. I'll just pull this fuse out. Flip this off. In fact, the way that connects, I'll just take it off of the solenoid there. No need for this one anymore either. I do need to hook this one up. No need for that. So we need these two hooked up and this one hooked up. And then once I pulled the starter switch from that key, there's no wires left under the dash, so that's completely cleaned out now. I just shortened up these wires. There's no reason to have them so long. What I'll do, I'm just going to wrap these around the starter solenoid. I would never do this permanently. This is just a temporary thing. Now everything is wired. There's no key. So if I pull this starter wire, now it's just a matter of everything's powered. Do I have fuel? There's the fuel pump to the Basically, this needs to be pumped 3 times. Okay, I probably screwed something up. So much for wanting me to keep this thing running. Here's the distributor wires have come off. I can't believe they didn't fall off sooner. They're just barely holding together. Let's see. I smell fuel. I'm not very Ford savvy, but it looks like one of the cables came off down here when I was moving everything around. They don't have any keepers to hold it together. It doesn't take much for it to come apart. We'll see. That's a shocker, literally. That should turn on. That doesn't make sense. There shouldn't be any reason why that thing stays running if I disconnect the battery. That's a mystery to me. Well, at least I know how to shut it off. Just disconnect this crazy wiring harness right here. So, I'll get this posted, get it up for sale. I guess there's always the scrap place. Start tearing stuff off now that I know I can start it back up again. I got all the wires out from under the dash. That's great. Just keep plugging along. Everything on this front end is disconnected. Headlights are disconnected. Turn signals are disconnected. So I'd like to start pulling all this off. It looks like the radiator will just set on the frame. So I can get everything out of the way and leave the radiator attached. So I think I'm ready to start taking all this off. I'll start by pulling the front bumper and see what goes next. Defroster vent? I think maybe that was holding the windshield on. Maybe. I only had 2 little fine screws, but that was it. Heavy with the glass in it. everything back up now. Make sure it still runs, still starts. All of this stuff was mounted to the inner fender well, and it was grounded. So I've put a ground on each one of those. Relays, a controller for the electronic ignition, I'm guessing. This side, it's got another relay. I don't know whether it's voltage relay, as well as the starter relay. So these are grounded. Got everything hooked up. Nothing. Needed to be grounded. Awesome. Oh! I got a fuel leak. Never noticed before. I thought it was weird everything here looked a little bit damp. It's got a split in this hose. That's one of those little weepers that could creep up and burn your project to the ground. But at least now I know everything still works. And everything is loose now, from the frame rails, from everything that is holding it in. The only thing that's left is the linkage to the transmission. Radiator, I've got to drain it. I left it all attached just so that I could keep fluid in it. Probably not any reason to. I could go ahead and drain it. Any potential buyers would be able to start it. It's not going to run long enough to actually get it hot and damage anything. So I think I will go ahead and drain that. There's a transmission cooler here. Could leave it on. Could also take it off, but I'm going to lose some of the fluid. It does have a hose here. I can just do a loop and bypass that cooler and still be able to circulate. But it's looking good. There's not a whole lot left to get the body off. It's just a matter of, I think there's about 6 bolts down each side of the body on the frame. From what I can see, all the bolts have a little bit of surface rust on them. So I want to get underneath there and get some penetrating oil on all those bolts. I do not want to break off a bolt on any of those. It's not likely. They look really good, but I don't want to risk it. So a little lubricant on there should break them loose. Moving right along.